Was it incredible?
37 hours of Cubert.
After
What
you
a
get to
beating.
a certain screen, is it just repetition, and as long as you keep doing the same thing? You know how, like, Pac-Man is a pattern?
Yeah.
And you get to know that? Those
Right.
old games, they're probably a lot more basic. And you
Right.
could learn the pattern. Same thing with Stargate?
Well, what happens is that this is the thing in the old games, 256 represents this magic number because it was like a binary code. So usually on the 256 screen, it would start over or it would end. So that's
Right.
where you have the Pac-Man kill screen. I think the Donkey Kong kill screen is similar based on that, where the game ends because the programmers figure that nobody would ever get that far. Also, the other thing is that if you have 256 men stored, then when you hit that number 256, it starts over and you lose all your men. So it's always
So you didn't want to do that?
no, you didn't.
Boy, the poor guy who found that out the hard way.
Exactly.
What a horrible, horrible thing.
I think you're talking to him right now.
Yeah, it's a good
Did
point.
you ever find that out?
I did find that out, but I knew it beforehand when I was going for my records. So I had figured that out beforehand.
Good. All right. It's a video game superstar Ben Gold here with you, and you're not as good as him, even though you're listening right now thinking you could probably beat him in something. You could. Well, maybe
Today,
now you can. Yeah.
Today, probably most people could beat me at
What does young video game stud, because our parents told us that this is going to ruin your eyes and you can't use this in the future or anything. Is that true? Has any of this, what do you do now? What is your profession now?
I am an outside sales rep. I work for a large national payroll company that does payroll HR outsourcing. And, I would say that the principles of what I learned when I was playing competitively are similar to similar life principles. And that is that I was very intense. I wanted to win, and I had to do a lot of practice. And it was like any other sport. When I was playing competitively, I did a lot of training beforehand.
Yet, you make your kid keep the Wii at grandma's house because you don't want him playing it every day. Interesting.
Well, there's a different element here that the kids today. Okay, when I was playing, I was a nut because I played 3 to 4 hours a day.
Yes.
My parents thought I was
Right.
crazy, but the kids today, some of them play 24 hours at a time on these fantasy games, and it's a difference between being focused and just losing time and really being unproductive. And so the balance that I run with my 8-year-old is that and that is a challenge every day, because even this morning he's like, I want to download this game and it's $20, and I'm like, and I'm asking him, I said, do you really want that game? How badly? Because number one, he has, in our opinion, we need to have a balanced life. He's got physical activity.
Sure.
He's taking Taekwondo. We're very careful about health. We're very careful about having a balanced lifestyle. And then if he wants to, in addition to that, play video games, or if he came to me and said, I want to be a professional video player, I don't have a problem with that, but I just want to make sure that his other elements are balanced.
Now, do you sense he has some of those gifts you have? Can it be?
Is that genetic?
Can it be passed down like Ken Griffey Sr. to Ken Griffey Jr.?
Well, since we're on this subject, I'll tell you this story, which I think you guys would love. And then also I want to tell you about the Video Game Hall of Fame.
We
that's
got to
gonna
get
be,
to that, don't we?
At some point. This is the best story. I switched jobs about 4 months ago, and I got my new job I had to get an iPhone because that synced my emails and stuff. So when I went to the to buy it at the AT&T store, the lady said to me, "This is going to change your life." And of course, I smiled and said, "I've heard that before."
Right.
And of course, within like 2 weeks, I became an unpaid sales rep for Apple.
As did we.
And within like about 2 or 3 days, my 8-year-old son and my 2-year-old son both discovered this neat little gadget that I have. And so my son David, the older one, I started to have to like put restrictions, like only 2 app downloads per week, because otherwise my phone was going to become covered with these game apps.
Yeah, you're far more
Parenthood
liberal.
is just restricting this and that, isn't it?
It is, and then it's like he goes to me and he says, "Okay, well, thank goodness I at least have a password at the App Store." And he's like, "Well, okay, I want to download this game, Buffalo Zombies," and I'm like, "No zombie games." Then it's like Bloodthirst or something. I'm going, "No blood games."
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned to you off the air, my wife is pregnant, and a couple
Good job.
What?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good work.
It's
Man.
well, and
Sorry, didn't
That's
want to
okay.
throw you off. Go ahead. Back to the story. Your kid,
Yeah.
Apple, iPhone.
you got it. Well, my wife is pregnant. She had to go in for a routine procedure in the hospital, and so she went to there, and I had left my two sons at Grandma and Grandpa's, and I got a call just as my wife was finishing up. My dad says to me, your son David, he's gotten some pains. I think you need to take him to a doctor. So I drop my wife off at home, go to the doctor, and the doctor says, you need to go to the emergency room. He's having an appendicitis.
Whoa.
Okay, so all I brought with me was my iPhone and my charger. And so I looked and I said, David, we got to the hospital, the emergency room, and I said, you can download any game you want. And he's like, I can do my zombies? And I'm like, yeah, you can do your zombies. And I can get the gun app? And I'm like, yeah, you can do the gun app too. Any game you want. And so, he was having a really, really good time until they started doing all the tests. And that was one of those evenings that, a parent, it was a very, very challenging one.
Yeah.
And memorable. Well, the next morning, we go and the doctor, my son's in his gown, and the doctor comes to us. He kind of has small talk, telling us about his kids. He has a little iPhone on his belt.
Sure.
And he's saying, this is the way the procedure's going to be. We're going to give you anesthesia. We're going to cut this open. We're going to do this. We're going to, going through the whole thing. And he goes, do you have any questions? And my son kind of raises his hand like a school kid and says, I have a question. And I'm looking around. He says, what is your son's favorite app on your iPhone?
He says to the doctor.
To the doctor, right before going into surgery.
Not worried about his appendix.
Yeah,
He's
not
worried
really
about the iPhone.
And I thought to myself, maybe he will follow my footsteps.
He has a gift. All right, Ben, you have a big trip coming up, first week in August, 5th through the 8th, because they are, Dan, I'm not making this up, the Video Game Hall of Fame is opening.
That is correct.
First class?
This is the inaugural class of the Video Game Hall of Fame. Where is the Video Game Hall of Fame?
It is in Ottumwa, Iowa.
Now, is that the home of Twin Galaxies?
That's where Twin Galaxies started.
And that's where you guys all met for the picture in life?
That is.
Okay.
Is there still an
Chasing
arcade
Ghosts.
there or no? Has that been shut down?
That was shut down in 1984.
Oh, wow. I'm a little behind.
So,
All right. I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry
okay.
to hear about that.
Don't.
Like if we
It's
visited.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. If you ever wanted to visit.
Yeah, so
Would
is
there
this
be anything to visit there?
is this a Hall of Fame where people as a destination and they go there and celebrate video games, or do you know yet?
It's turning into that. I can tell you it's kind of a longer story. Maybe later on I'll go into it. But the short is the city of Ottumwa has embraced that this is a great way for building their image of their city, tourism.
Around video games.
Around video games. They're going to, one of the ceremonies, they're going to officially change their name to the Video Game Capital of the World. And I know
Instead of the place where Radar O'Reilly said he was from.
Exactly. That's about the only other area that it's famous for.
Wow.
There's
Look at you.
yeah, that's
I watched
pretty
a lot
good.
of MASH when I was a little kid.
There's a video game festival. It's called the Big Bang, and this is the first annual one. And so the idea is that every year around this time, there's going to be a festival, contests, and induction ceremonies. They have yet to have an official, let's say, museum built, but that's something that right now they're starting this part of it. I was told that the Music Hall of Fame, for example, went 12 years without a building. So
Dan?
That's true, yes.
That's in Cleveland.
But then they built it in Cleveland, yes.
So it was well, good. I'm glad.
So you're going.
Yeah.
You're going to be there?
He's in the
inducted?
class. He's in the inaugural class with Billy Mitchell, Ben Gold, Steve Harris, who I don't know, Jay Kim, who I don't know.
Aren't those also
no,
the
are
guys
they
who
gonna
voted
be in
on who
there?
should be in the first class?
I don't know if those are going to be in the is Steve Harris and Jay Kim going to be in there?
Am I getting bad information?
Those were the ones that
J. Crew.
Those two were people that were with us in the first U.S. national video game team.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if Jay or Steve are going to be in the
All
Hall
right,
of
well,
Fame.
That's okay.
But
All we
heck
care
with them.
about is that
You're
you're
in.
going to
You
be
and
in.
Billy Mitchell
You
are.
are in the first ever class of the Video Game Hall of Fame.
And there's 29
Wow.
people inducted.
Wow.
Whoa, 29. All right.
That's a very healthy
Do you
class.
get a bust and a nice yellow jacket and make a speech? You get to make a speech and all that
No,
stuff?
he's just
Yeah.
going to pay for his own trip to Iowa.
What-
Actually, look, I've made it big, guys. Okay, I'm getting a free airplane ticket.
Oh, really?
It's not
Wow.
quite like LeBron,
Coach?
but what?
Coach?
It's Coach.
All right.
What game's hat will you wear into the Hall of Fame? Will you go in as a Cubert or as a what was the other one?
Millipede.
Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate.
I have no idea.
That's wonderful. Well, all right, so that's the 5th through the 8th. You're going in, and this is very exciting. This is the first Dallas person to make it into the Video Game Hall of Fame, by the way, Dan. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's big. It's big
Ben,
for the area.
Congratulations, sir.
This will bring a lot
Thanks.
to our economy.
And congratulations on the upcoming baby. When's that going down?
My wife is on bed rest right now, so
Oh,
it could
wow. Anytime.
be. It could be any time. Hopefully,
You're going to be in Iowa at the Hall of Fame, and she's going to call.
I told her to stay in bed during those 3 days, please.
Maybe we could do our show from the room.
That'd be really weird.
That would be weird.
Ben, a pleasure, sir. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming up, brother.
We'll just
Great.
send Donovan with the live mic.
Keep us posted.
Absolutely.
It's the great Ben Gold. Up next, a short version of Ask Sports Me on the Ticket.